Well, hey, and welcome to the Eek channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is James, and today I am joined by my co-host,
Cody.
Cody, how are we doing this evening?
Great.
We're doing so good. We just watched The Girl on the Third Floor.
The Girl on the Third Floor.
That is a movie. Is directed by Travis Stevens. This is his first directorial. This is a directorial debut, if you will. He has been a producer on a host of movies. Let me tell you some movies this guy has helped produce.
Okay.
Big Ass Spider.
Oh.
Zombie Diaries 2.
Didn't think you were going to keep going there.
Little Deaths.
Interesting.
We Are Still Here.
I feel like I've heard of that one.
That one's a good one. I don't think we watched it. I think I watched that one by myself.
Okay.
And Starry Eyes, which was a kind of a really popular Netflix pick for a long time.
I was going to say, that one sounds familiar. Didn't see it.
Yep. So he's been around the block in the horror genre a little bit, just never really jumped in and directed anything.
Yeah. I still wouldn't call him like a household name.
Oh, no.
But
Big Ass Spider, exclamation point. That's the actual title. There's an exclamation point in it.
I like it. I'm more interested now that there's an exclamation point. Yeah, I mean, and I would say, I don't know, like, I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves.
Sure. I still got to do the back of the box.
Yeah. I would say that we saw evidence probably of a debut.
Yeah.
In a good way and a bad way. Like, we felt influences. We also felt maybe some clunkiness or just maybe premature or rushed parts. But also there's something beautiful about a debut, right? Like,
absolutely.
Like, this is where you get to really shine, whether it's in music, whether it's in movies, whether it's in TV show, whether
not every director's first movie is going to be fucking Get Out. Like,
but also, like, sometimes it's Halloween, you know? Like,
yep.
I mean, like, sometimes you get this magic where, like, I don't really care where you fall, like, in the music spectrum, but a lot of debut albums are really good because these people
different than movies. Yeah, absolutely.
Because they've been working on this for years. Like, they have one idea and they can fit it into a hour and 40-minute movie, or they can fit it into a 9-song album.
Right.
And, like,
well, and so often with music, it's like that first one is your everything. Like, that's your truth. You're pulling from your life story. You're pulling from your childhood. You're pulling from relationships. Because let's face it, 80% of music is about relationships. You're pulling from, like, all these things that you've experienced in life, and then, like, you do a pretty good job, and then a record label says, "Hey, make another one." You're like, "What the fuck? I don't know what to write about."
And not only make another one, like, make another one in like 6 months,
and
like
better, and it has to be better,
and it has to be like the same, but also a little different. And I feel like movies, though again very different, can take that role where it's like, hey, like, make something, and like, I feel like movies are maybe a little bit more dependent on time and popularity. So what is hot right now?
Right.
What is cutting edge right now? What speaks right now? Like, is it retro, but is it too retro? Is it like copying, but it also, does it fit to the time? So there's different things, but there's still that beauty of, like, this is this person. Like, you can read direct influences. Like, we had a lot of times tonight where it's like, oh, we saw this movie. Oh, we saw these shots. Oh, we saw that attempt.
Right.
Pretty cool stuff. Pretty clunky stuff.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave it there.
All right. Let me get into the old back of the box here. Ex-lawyer Dan Koch tries to renovate a rundown mansion for his growing family, only to learn that the house has other plans.
Ooh.
It's never a good thing.
Never a good thing.
Even when ghosts aren't involved, I'm a homeowner. I don't like it when my house has plans that don't match up with my plan.
Yep.
That's frustrating.
Frustrating, if you will.
All right. To the girl on the third floor.
Here she goes.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
And now for our feature presentation.
All right, and we are back.
And we're back!
Coming at you with our thoughts on The Girl on the Third Floor.
Here we go.
All right, I'm going to kick us off with a little bit of info. There's not a lot of trivia available.
Probably not.
For this flick. It was filmed in Frankfort, Illinois, which is a Chicago suburb. It's also set in a Chicago suburb. So,
fitting.
Shot on location, basically. And it was filmed in what is reputed to be a haunted house.
Oh.
The house was real.
Okay.
And the house, Travis Stevens, the director, his film company bought the house to turn into their like home base of operations office space.
Okay.
And so they were renovating the building and said, hey, hang on. This part looks really spooky. Let's make a movie here first.
Yeah.
And then we'll finish all the renovations.
And then we'll work out of here.
And then we'll work here.
Yeah. That's cool.
It's pretty cool, right?
Why not? Go for it.
A great use of funding, really. I mean,
well, and especially like if you are typically in the production side of things, like you are producing, you are fronting money. If you're trying to make a brand for yourself, if you're trying to have a production house, whatever that may look like. Like I'm not trying to even front that I know a ton about the industry, but like if you had an aspiration of directing, why not? Like it's there. And I mean, clearly you got the cash flow. Like
for branding, like that could almost like be your logo, just like a silhouette of that little house, and like you made a movie in the house where you also have your office. Like it's fucking cool.
Yep.
It's currently at an 82% on the old Rotten Tomatoes. Oh shoot, I was gonna do a thing this time.
You were.
Where I was going to have us write down our percentages before we get to the end. I guess I still could.
You could.
I have a pen. I'll get a pen.
Okay.
And you talk about a little bit about just what this movie is about.
I'll do my best.
Yeah.
So like a brief kind of synopsis to this movie. I could probably get kind of long-winded because we get more probably story than we probably expect. So we have this guy, and actually we don't even know that he is necessarily a lawyer. We know that he has bought this house, and he is responsible to fix this house up. And he runs into some issues, some leaky outlets, and some gooey light fixtures, and maybe a questionable girl next door.
Everything's gooey.
And they kind of have a fling that seems to continue to affect his efforts on the house. He has a buddy that kind of gets caught up in the drama.
Good old Milo.
And he pays for said drama. I'm trying to. There's a lot. Like it's a lot of story to briefly enhance. But we're continually drawn back to the husband checking in on the wife, and so she becomes a character. Our leading man falls victim. What we think falls victim to the house.
Right.
We are not given that. He is desperately fighting this, and we're kind of left with a little bit of cliffhanger. Liked that part. Then our leading lady, she wasn't our leading lady, but she becomes our leading lady.
Gonna have a shift in who the main protagonist of the movie is, which is a little off-putting, just because it just causes it to be a little disjointed. But...
A little disjointed, but But we shift from kind of a classic, like we were making a lot of comparisons to either like, I know that these are going to sound goofy coming out together, but a lot of like Evil Dead and also Shining. Like we were making a lot of these comparisons, and then like we shift to kind of this like girl kick butt movie. Yep. It's a little bit of a kind of a tongue twister there. Not a bad shift, just not one that any of us were expecting.
Almost comes into like your next territory.
Yeah, and she kind of takes it on herself to right the situation.
Yeah.
We have history of this.
Then at the end, it goes full on mother.
Full on mother,
and she walks in, and there's all these ancient ancient dead people in her house who are just walking around having a party like nobody's business.
Kind of shift back to The Shining, where like we're dropped back into this moment in history. We feel the effects of history on this house. It's hard. Like it's hard for me to give you a 30-second synopsis of this movie. I feel like that's pretty good without like completely ruining everything.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Let's shift gears a little bit. Let's talk about who our leading role is for the majority of the movie, which is Don.
Bruce Campbell.
And
CM Punk.
Who
for those who don't know who CM Punk is, like if it wasn't for like a couple choice cousins and a barber, I would have no idea who CM Punk was. I do.
Paul, if you're listening, thanks for sharing your wrestling knowledge with us while we're getting our hair cut.
I do know who CM Punk is. I would have never recognized him. Like there are going to be things that give it away, like the amount of tattoos, like even as goofy as it sounds, like hairstyle, kind of the way he carries himself. Like there are things that like make you fall into like this guy fits into certain realms.
Right.
As soon as I heard, oh, that's CM Punk, I knew professional wrestler. Like everything clicks.
Yeah.
Which he has since turned into like a legit UFC fighter, right?
Yeah. He's still, I believe, like still fighting.
Yeah. But he is our lead guy, and it's very interesting to see this character kind of take on this role where like he's supposed to be a white collar criminal, also supposed to be kind of a womanizer, also supposed to be like somewhat refined but also like gritty, and I guess he fits some of those things, but also
some of those things he fits. His profile fits.
The updated CM Punk fits more,
right,
than like the longer hair or the WWE guy.
Yeah,
that like that persona. Like they did make it work, but also like for what I would consider a low to moderate budget movie, you're not going to get rid of like the full body tattoos,
exactly,
things like that.
And that's the thing is that like. You kind of just have to just pass on the tattoos thing. Like, I have tattoos. I am a full-on tattoo supporter. This character of being this white-collar criminal and was a lawyer and looks like he probably got disbarred, or if not, he was damn close to it.
Something like that.
It's really hard to believe that he looks like that with his shirt off. It's really hard to believe he looks like that with his shirt on. And he's got neck tattoos and shit. Like, you just can't hide it. And so, like, you almost have to write it off, especially probably due to the budget because, you know, in a lot of movies they can digitally remove all that stuff. And, like, you know, just you almost just have to let that one go because if you don't, you're going to not believe anything in the movie. Yeah.
And I feel like it... You know, it maybe adds to certain, like we said, like it adds to certain other elements of the movie.
Yeah.
Kind of the bad boy thing, kind of the you know, sleeping around kind of thing, like this past story that we get later. But I feel like there are other actors, and it's like maybe that fits a little bit better.
Yeah. Like, but the thing that we walked away with, and we kept reminding ourselves and each other throughout the entire film, is that I don't know what happened. I don't know if freaking Travis Stevens sat CM Punk down and said, hey, I want you to watch Evil Dead 2 on repeat for like 6 months before we start filming. He just nails young Bruce Campbell to a fucking T.
Close your eyes. It is Bruce Campbell.
Crazy.
It's nuts. And I feel like that worked for this movie. Like a lot of times I would say like, oh, that's a cheap copy. Oh, that you are trying too hard, blah, 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 blah. It worked.
It worked well.
For a lot of what it was supposed to work for, whether they were trying or not. Like there were times where it was like, wow, that would be god-awful dialogue if that wasn't Bruce Campbell delivering it.
Right.
Oh, wait, that's not Bruce Campbell. Like, but I'm still endeared to it.
Ham-fisted, delivery style just made sense for this character once he was committed to it.
Yep.
And yes, as a writer, you get away with much more when your actor is playing it off that way versus if he was trying to be 100% serious 100% of the time.
It was shocking.
Yeah.
And even if it is, like, you are not taking him serious.
Right.
Like, whether he's taking him serious or not, like, himself serious or not, you are not. But you are to a certain, like, you believe that he is, but you aren't. It's bizarre. But that's what Bruce Campbell does. Like, that is his... That's what he does, especially in Evil Dead 2. Like, it's bizarre.
Yep.
So
I'm just gonna go through some of the things that I have written down here. We're just gonna move kind of forward through. We've kind of summed up the plot.
Sure.
So I'm gonna go ahead and jump into the best kill, which I just have written down for kill, Don's marble. So we have this reoccurring theme throughout the movie where these marbles appear in the house and our victims will pick them up and play with them. For whatever fucking reason, they're very often compelled to pop them into their mouth.
one of our characters is a dog, which makes way more sense.
That would make sense.
But,
that would make sense.
But literally, we get a scene where it's just like, bloop. And you're like, why?
And it's so Evil Dead 2. And then this sequence plays out so Evil Dead 2, where the marble is like in his skin and it's like wiggling and writhing throughout his body, like up through his leg, all the way like to where it like pops out of his eye. And it's fucking great.
It's good.
And we were all waiting for it because he grabs a box cutter and I'm like, no, this isn't just like this isn't just like an Evil Dead 2 homage. Like, they're gonna straight cop it. He's gonna cut off a limb or cut off something, and he didn't because the marble pops out of his eye. But they play it off really, really well.
It's close.
You think he's gonna cut off his leg, then you're like, oh, is he gonna cut off his...
Is he gonna slit his throat? Yeah.
And so it was just really, really good. I like the whole scene. One thing that this movie is getting a lot of praise for is its use of practical effects.
Sure.
And this is probably the best practical effects moment throughout the whole film.
Yeah. So there are several really good kills. I think there is one I want to give an honorable mention because it worked all of us up. So we are all dog people, and we have a fallen comrade in this film, and it's tough. Like,
every single person in the room was a dog owner.
Yeah, and like we don't see anything, which I really appreciate.
Yeah.
But you know it. And like they make it pretty obvious. Like, this is what happened to our
brutal as
beloved
fuck
dog. This dog has been really good through the movie. So that's the honorable mention. Like, it is good. I'm gonna say Milo.
Yeah.
It was a really good. It was just kind of one of the. It was kind of the first kill. A little bit of one of those, like, I'm a big shock factor guy.
Yep.
Like, I want the irony. I want the dramatic irony. I want to know that I'm expecting something and something else happens.
Yep.
And so, like, I was going into the scene where, like, I thought Milo was going to get seduced.
100%.
It was going to turn into this, like, love triangle.
Pit them against each other. Yep.
And then all of a sudden, boom, mallet to the face. Milo's done.
Over.
And we see some images of him, like, fighting for his own survival, but he is mangled. It was a great set the tone. This is how death is in this movie.
Yeah.
And there are many other what I would consider honorable mentions. Like, there are a handful that are really good, but I'm going to say that's the one that sets the tone. It took me in a different direction. We had drama, we had this love interest, changes the course.
Yeah. There was there's a moment where someone is wearing a skin suit where you think it is one person, and then they cut open and rip off the face, and it is another person. That is handled really, really well. Another really, really great use of practical effects.
Really good scene.
And then actually, so for scary moments, first thing I wrote down was the girl in the drawer.
Yeah.
Because there's this moment where we have this reoccurring character, this girl who's actually the one who plays with the marbles. That's where we get the marbles from. She seems to be like, what was your pickup on this character? In my mind, she was like, because this house was a brothel, and like in my mind, one of the girls who worked at the brothel probably had a child, and then it was kind of being raised there.
Yeah.
And then it had like a deformity.
Yep. Originally I thought it was just like a really low intelligent worker. Like that's kind of what that's kind of where we start. And then for sure. It is a probably an illegitimate child that's being raised probably by the brothel moms, like probably
she's
multiple,
like basically being like put in the basement or the attic, stay away from the clients. Like
it's more, it's less we are ashamed and more stay out of the limelight. We have work to do.
Right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So we have her, and she's reoccurring, and she does have this deformity, and she's quite terrifying. She basically has another mouth growing out of her forehead.
It's weird.
It's pretty fucked up. But she crawls out of a just dresser drawer at one point. It's like a built-in drawer in the hallway, and physically it doesn't make sense how she would even be able to fit in there, and it's just really unsettling. But then they hit me with this great 1 second jump scare that you missed.
I missed.
You looked away and you missed.
We had some cutting edge news in the neighborhood, and I was interested in what happened, and so. Come to find out, the cutting edge news was not worth me not watching this movie.
There's just this tiny little moment. It happens so fucking fast where so the wife comes home and she's Bunny. Do we have a name for her other than Bunny? That's Don's pet name for her.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we ever got her actual name. I'm sure we did. But I don't remember. And she comes home. She's looking through the house. She's looking for her husband. He seems to be gone. Dog seems to be gone. And she notices...
Her name is Liz.
Liz. We notice just some weird things. The house oozing goo, which it does.
It does
and
a
she
lot.
sees it for the first time. And she's fucking around with the sink. And then she pulls out this big old nasty black witchy-looking hair clogging the sink.
I saw that part.
And directly, as soon as she pulls the whole thing out, there's just an eye. Staring out of the freaking sink drain, just perfect. It's perfectly sized to where someone's just peeking through, just hello, and then it blinks, and then it's gone.
Ew.
And it was such a good jump scare, and I fucking loved it. That was the best scary moment in my mind.
This one's tough, and I would say probably for those who are used to watching scary movies, this is a tougher and tougher question each week. We're what is the scariest moment,
right?
And because you can anticipate so many, if you are used to how the equation goes and kind of what the moments are,
unless you're Alex watching an Insidious movie,
right, which is just a comedy in and of itself. I'm gonna say the scariest moment was it's tough. I'm gonna say kind of the first time that he reaches into the wall. So it's really early on. And I hesitate to say this moment because it's more unsettling. But he has this kind of hole, this leaky hole in his house. We got a couple homeowners in the crowd, and he reaches in and just kind of grabs around and then pulls out mush, and we all were just what are you doing? Stop. And he has a couple scenes where there are pipes, but it's one of those things where you don't have to be a homeowner to know that that's wrong. That's this is wrong.
It's not what you're supposed to do.
And so I get that it's not an overtly scary scene. As a homeowner, it's terrifying. What is this black stuff in your walls?
Particularly whenever he bursts that pipe under the sink and he gets shit all over his face.
Yeah.
I was this is my life. This not exactly has happened to me, but something similar has, and this will probably happen to me at some point.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be so mad, and then I'm going to have to spend so much money because I fucked something up that probably was an easy fix, and I made it even worse, and it's going to cost even more money.
Yep.
That's me. That's me.
And I feel
every day.
And I feel that it sets the tone for uneasiness.
Yeah.
Where you don't is it we kind of have this dynamic, and it probably doesn't play out as well as I would hope if I rewatched it, but of this dynamic of, is this normal or is this not normal? Is this a normal house problem, or is this not? And like, it seems to exacerbate as the movie goes on. Like, these seem like normal house problems, and then like you recognize it's like probably not. But if you're in the moment, you're like, oh, I can fix this. I can fix this pipe. I can fix this. And then all of a sudden, like the whole bedroom ceiling caves in, and you're like, oh crap! Like this has gone to a new level.
Yep.
So, not exactly scary, but kind of in that vein.
Yeah. Some additional notes that I have here. First of all, especially towards the end of the movie, this definitely has an American Horror Story season 1, which is the Murder House season, vibe.
Yes.
Just as far as like, this is definitely a haunted house story.
Yes.
Which I really appreciate because I like haunted house stories, and I think a lot of haunted house movies kind of suck. So to see one come along, even if it's not groundbreaking and like you have to run out and see this immediately, but to see one come around that's decent is rare, and it's a good thing for me.
Yep.
So I liked that, and then there was some music at the end that I thought worked really, really well. I didn't watch the credits to find out exactly what the name of the piece was, but as we got to our climax, it was really, really working for me. But the total film, like the third act, really falls apart for me.
Yes. When you watch this movie, for those who never plan to watch this movie, this is kind of when we get the wife is now our main character.
Yep.
Where she has taken it upon herself to kind of...
So when she comes in, we're sitting here trying to figure out, okay, is this just going to tie everything up in like the next 5 minutes and we're done?
Yeah.
Or is there a whole nother act?
You
and there
literally
ended up
said that
being
in
another
the movie.
act.
You said, wait, is there more movie?
Right. I don't know.
And there was. It was a shorter third act, but we do what I appreciated about it. We got closure to the church lady.
Yep.
So we have a reoccurring character. We thought we were going to have multiple. We got one, really. That was a community member.
Right.
That seemed to be kind of warning us, but also we've all watched enough cult movies to think like maybe she is in on this.
Oh, yeah.
And so we do get some closure with her character. But this is really where the story then revolves around the wife efforts. And I would agree, like a lot, and it's not just the story. Like a lot changes.
Yep.
Like cinematography, style.
The whole tone kind of changes.
We get some, and these are some of the throwbacks that are really, really good. We get some like different zoom scenes. We get some different angle scenes.
Yeah, all of those weird 70s shots that I commented and said, like, that was super 70s. I just did an episode with Erica from Customers Also Watched, and she had me watch this like 70s kind of giallo style movie, which we've dabbled in, but we haven't done a lot of. And so that's all fresh in my mind. And so I came in and multiple times it's like, oh, that's giallo, that's 70s. All of those happened in this third act.
Yep.
They never happened before.
Never. Also, one thing that we get a lot of in the first act, I'm not sure when we lost them, were these angle shots. Like
ultra hyper modern. Like
and there were and to the extent of there was a shot in Milo when Milo dies and he is crawling up the basement stairs, but the way it's shot is like, is he crawling down? Is he crawling up?
Right.
Like what is happening? We get a reflection in a mirror of a reflection in a mirror. We get these. They are trying to make you second guess the layout of this house, where the characters are in location to each other, and it's really sometimes it's poorly done. There are a couple shots with the dog, and I'm not sure if it was like the dog was in the wrong spot, maybe the camera was in the wrong spot, where it's like, okay, are we trying to get this effect? Is this happening? But there are some times where it is good. It is good. You are in you are watching somebody move, and then you realize it's in a reflection of a reflection,
right?
And you're not sure where that is happening in location to your main character, and it is really captivating.
Yeah,
and we lose.
It's a great way to do a ghost story.
It is, and we lose all of that in the third act.
Yep.
We lose all of it.
It's almost like there was another director that came in for the third act, or a different
Yeah.
director of photography or something. It's weird.
Or he was just like, you know what? I just watched this other movie and I got this other idea. Like, I don't know how long shooting took. Like, I don't know any of these, pieces of information. there were different parts, but that's the challenge, is like piecing those together, and like, did it completely go together? Did it fit? Like,
right.
Sometimes no, sometimes yeah. Sometimes like it's nice to see all those shout outs, but also like you got to make it flow and you got to make it work and you got to make it fit together. And did it? I don't know.
Yeah. All right, let's move into kind of our final thoughts and our review. I am giving this movie a thumbs up. I think out of movies that have come out this year, it's definitely worth seeing. I think that I like I said, I like haunted house movies. There's not a lot of great ones out there.
Yeah.
I think this is at least a good one.
Yeah.
This is one that I foresee. We've said this kind of before, of like, we kind of have created a label of Netflix movies.
Yep.
This is a movie that I foresee once it hits a streaming platform, a lot of people will probably watch it and think that it's pretty good.
Yeah.
It reminds me of, say, Hush. Just like,
yeah.
It's not groundbreaking. It's not the most amazing thing in the world, but it's a damn good movie. And out of all of the shit that ends up on a streaming platform like Netflix or Hulu, this one stands out outside of all the classics.
Windmills. Yikes.
We'll always have windmills.
If windmills can make it to Netflix, this movie can make it to Netflix.
So I'm going to give it a thumbs up for sure, and I'm going to put it at a 65%.
Ooh.
And I even feel like that's a little low due to my enjoyment of it. And that's because and maybe this is me being biased and unfair, but I'm just trying to get to this place where I felt like most of the beginning of this year, when we started doing this thing and I started attributing numbers to movies, did I fall into that like 70 range? And I feel like I always did it because I was too afraid to say this is good or this is bad, so I'm just going to give it a 70 because it's in the middle. And I want to not be stuck in that rut, and so I'm just like really trying to weigh things on either side of that 70 mark for me personally.
Yeah.
So 65%, it doesn't make that like go out and see this right away. Don't necessarily rent it. I would say don't rent it, but it will be streaming guaranteed sometime soon, and you should definitely watch it when it is.
Yeah. So I will also give this a thumbs up. I think this is one of those movies where it's going to walk a very strange line of, if you are a horror fan, you're going to love the shout outs.
Yeah.
We had many different, I don't want to call us novices. Like, we've been doing this for a while, so we can recognize things. We're not obtuse. And we had many of us in the room, and we all said, "Ooh, that's a nod to this. That's a nod to that." And like, we all were picking up different things, kind of based on our own likes and our own interests. And I think some of them were like, "Ooh, I didn't see that," and you're right. Yep. It is a nod to that. And then I think it's also going to walk this line of like somebody who doesn't give a shit about that.
Right.
And they're just like, that's an enjoyable movie.
Yep.
And even if it changes, kind of storylines, or we get this third act, like, I think you're going to get these characters who are going to say like, "Oh, I needed that closure with these characters." Like, so many times in a horror movie, those things aren't thought of.
Right.
Like, it's like, "Oh, we ran out of time. We ran out of budget." And we just don't close that gap with that character. And they did it. They kind of tied up all the loose ends, except for like the weird like lawyer guy at the beginning, who like, whatever. Forget that guy.
Yep.
For me, I feel like I'm always that guy. I guess since you explained your grading curve, I'll explain mine. Like, I'm always that guy who I fall right around 50, and I just say like, you should go see this, whether I give it a thumbs up or thumbs down. Like, that's my go-to. I'm going to give this a 72, which is ironic coming right off of James, who said, like, I'm trying to stay away from the 70s. I'm going to say, like, it was good enough to kind of seek this out. Like, be careful, I guess, how much you're paying for it. Like, in the Nuggies scale, I guess I wouldn't say, like, spend $7 on this. Like, if you can get this, if you are subscribing,
which is about how much we spent on it, getting it on demand tonight.
Yeah. And I would say, like, if you can get this on a streaming service, if you can get this in Redbox, if you can come by it in other means, like, do that. But it's enjoyable. Like, this is a movie that we like. if you have horror fans,
yes,
there are going to be times that you are going to laugh. There are times
I
that
was gonna say that, yeah,
but laughed like you do at Evil Dead, not because you're in pain,
right?
Like it was good because you have to know horror backstory. But if you're also watching this with people who don't get that, I think it's still going to be really enjoyable. Like
sure.
I think you're going to like aspects of this, and there's, I guess, enough of it. It's kind of a good buffet style, and I feel like a lot of times we get a bad buffet with horror movies where it's like it's a lot of what I don't want, and I feel like this is just enough of what you want. Like, and so I'm gonna give it a thumbs up. I'm gonna say percentage 72. That's not like a monetary direct. I would say like if you're looking to spend like $4 and a bag of popcorn, like do it. Like,
I think especially if you have friends who are horror fans, you will I think this is a great like Friday night, all my friends who like scary movies come over and watch this. You will really, really enjoy all of the kind of call outs and homages that it does have within it. And like you said, like you can just, I think that and I think this is a continuous problem as film evolves, that you get this curve on your grading. Everyone does, and it's just like this movie's not trying to be Midsummer.
Yeah,
it's not trying to be Hereditary. It's not trying to be Us. It is definitely, if anything, I would say, kind of is trying to be sort of a modern Evil Dead type movie.
Yeah,
it is Sam Raimi-esque. It doesn't take itself too seriously, and that's a good thing. At the end, that tone seems to shift, and maybe now it's trying to take itself a little more seriously and maybe try to say something about toxic masculinity, but I don't really know that it is delivering that message in a great way.
Yeah.
But as like a just fucking popcorn horror movie, it is great.
It is. It's very enjoyable.
If drive-ins existed today the way they did in the 70s and 80s, this would be an amazing drive-in movie.
Yeah.
You're out, drink a couple beers, eat some popcorn, smoke cigarettes, and watch this movie, and you will fucking love it. Like that, it's that kind of quote-unquote trashy horror flick that horror fans do love from time to time.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yep. Cool. Any other last thoughts before I start the music?
I'm back to it. Stranger Things 3 wasn't that good. Sorry. It's been a while.
We're gonna have to revisit that in just like a you and me conversation.
I know.
And record that for later.
I know. I know everybody's been waiting for me to weigh in on this again. It's just I had the thought. It's not that good.
Yep.
I'm sorry. We should have ended like 30 seconds ago.
Hey, you know what is special about this episode that we should toast to real quick?
Oh.
This is going to be our final episode that airs before our little December break. So this technically signifies the end of season 1.
Dang, let's go. We made it. We made it past the pilot. There's so many things that they don't know if they're making it past season 1.
Yep.
Like, let's go.
So we're taking December off of putting episodes out, so you won't be getting them the same way. We might do like a Christmas special.
Sure.
But realistically, this signifies the end of season 1, and I have a lot of things that I'm already working on for season 2 and just need a little extra time with the holidays and everything to kind of get all that set up before we start rolling everything out in January.
Absolutely.
So the next big episode to be watching out from us will be our 2019 in review.
Oh, let's go. Those are always fun because give me like 2 weeks behind this movie and I'm going to be like, I'm going to dog it. Like this, just like what I did with Stranger Things.
Or you might come around the other way.
Or I might say like, this is the best movie we've ever watched. Like it's so unpredictable.
Yep.
I'm very much looking forward to that episode.
And so I'm actually thinking for that episode, we might do things kind of a little bit more old school. And even if I have to set up extra microphones, and even if not everybody has their own mic, like we might record that one audio only and not worry about the production and just like really let us go at it for a while.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
and figure out what our best of 2019 is.
Oh yeah. I'm all into multiple co-hosts.
Yeah, just a big round table, get everybody in here at once.
Sausage
It'll probably
fest.
be terrible to listen to, but we'll make it happen.
I can't wait.
All right, guys. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you want to help out the show, you can rate, review, comment, like, subscribe, follow us on Instagram, do all the internet things, or if you don't want to do any of that, fuck all that shit. Just tell a friend that it's a pretty cool show. If you did want to follow us on Instagram, last time I checked, we were at 699 followers. So if you want to be that 700th follower, you go ahead and go to Instagram and go to @EekChannel. That is EekChannel. Give us a follow, and you will be number 700. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening, and stay eeky out there.
This has been a production of Eek Channel. We make spooky stuff for people like you. You can discover more content like this at eekchannel.com. Or find us on Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, all the places. And don't be shy, we like making new friends. Thank you for tuning in, and stay